Hey guys, what is up? I am so excited because today I am going to be building my brand new video editing PC. I edit 4K footage, sometimes it's 60 frames 4K, and my old processor kind of chugs along. Not just the processor, the memory, the hard drives, everything is a little bit out of date. And so now I'm going to be updating all of that. Brand new build, everything's new in here. The only thing you don't see here is the video card, and that is because I'm going to be taking my RTX 2080 out of my old PC and I'm going to be putting it in here. That is the most recent component in my old PC. Now, there'll be two main takeaways from this build. First of all, I am not building a light show here. This is not a discotheque, it's not a rave. Now, inevitably, some of the components are going to be RGB just because it is so hard to find components that don't have RGB in them these days, especially when you're just looking for performance and cost. That being said, I do appreciate all of the computer cases that have glass windows on them because I can actually look inside and see if my fans are spinning, see if I need to clean it. So that is actually pretty useful. I do like that. Now the second takeaway is that there's no brand loyalty here. This is not a sponsored video. So this is a mishmash of parts, just whatever I could find that is performance at a good price and is decently reliable. The only exception here is I did want an Intel processor. I've had bad luck with AMD in the past, but that is just, personal problems probably. I'm sure there are people that have had bad luck with Intel as well. Now, typically, AMD processors are more bang for the buck. So like for your money, you'll get a higher end processor, but it also typically AMDs will run a little bit hotter. And so I want something cool, reliable. I'm going to be running this thing 24/7. So this is just kind of a personal preference. I wanted an Intel, and that's what I am building. So anyway, let's get on to the build. I'm excited to put this together. Let's get started. All right, so here is the case I'm going to be using. It's a Fractal Design Meshify 2 case with a lightly tinted tempered glass window. Here is my motherboard, an Asus Prime Z690A. This is built for the 12th generation Intel processors and DDR5 RAM only. It will not work with the older DDR4 RAM. This is a pretty big upgrade from older boards with massive heat sinks and latches for the M.2 drives. Of course, we have a manual, support disk, serial ATA cables, and extra components. I'll be installing 32 gigabytes of 4800 megahertz DDR5 RAM from Corsair. It's 16 gigabytes times 2. No flashy lights, just performance. I've got another 32 gigs of the exact same RAM coming in the mail still, so eventually I'll have 64, but for now the 32 will do just fine. So the first set of memory sticks will go into the light gray DIMM slots. Here is my processor. It's an Intel 12th generation i9 in an oversized flashy box. How unnecessary. Look at all this waste product. Plastic and cardboard. Manual for installation instructions, and here is the chip. Man, look at all those pins. I think you're supposed to leave this plastic on until the chip is in, but I'm just gonna be careful. Gently place the chip in, making sure the arrows in the corner line up, and then we latch it down. Here are the main drives I'll be using. These are the Samsung 980 Pro M.2 drives, which are also compatible in the PlayStation 5 expansion slot. Now, I didn't get heat shields with mine because this motherboard actually already has them built in for 3 of the 4 M.2 slots, and we'll only be using 2 of those slots. One of the drives I'm going to be using for Windows and all of my apps. The other drive will be for my video editing projects. When I'm finished with editing a video, I usually just move it to one of my larger external drives for archival purposes. So this should be plenty of space for me. First, I need to remove the 2 M.2 heat sinks from the motherboard. I'll turn this so you can see it a bit better. The primary slot has heat dissipation for both the top and bottom of the drive. Now, I've never actually had to plug one of these in before. The only SSDs I've ever had in the past were all either external or serial ATA. So this is a first for me. With other motherboards, you might need to use a screw to secure it, but we've got these handy dandy latches. Then we'll just peel the protective film off the thermal pad and screw the heatsink back on. Now this next heatsink is actually for 2 slots, one large and one small, and of course we'll be using the smaller slot. So I'm only going to peel the film off one side of this. And let's get this off here while we're at it. Here is my power supply. It's an 850 watt, which should be plenty. I'm not looking to overload this system with like multiple video cards and a bajillion drives or anything, so we should be just fine with 850. Inside we have a whole bunch of cables. Now, one thing I really like about this power supply is that you can just plug in the wires that you plan to use. With my old power supply, it just had all of the wires coming straight out of it, and then you would just use whichever ones you needed, and the rest you would have to tie up or tuck out of the way. This one saves space. You only use the wires that you need. And the other nice thing about this too is if your power supply ever goes bad, it makes replacement a lot easier too. You can just leave the cables in the system. Here are the accessories for the Meshify 2 case. We've got the user guide, a bunch of extra brackets, which are probably for installing serial ATA drives. And then here is our box of screws, grommets, and ties. We'll be using some of these to attach the motherboard. Here is the back side of the case. You can see we've got some really nice cable management back here. So this will help us keep everything nice and tidy. I'm taking the top panel off so we can get at everything a little bit more easily. There we go, the motherboard is securely in place. Now we can just screw it down. My CPU cooler is the Mag Core Liquid 360R. Now this one comes with a whole bunch of brackets, but it does not come with the 12th generation Intel in the box, but my purchase came with a bracket kit in a separate envelope. So I got a pretty good deal on this one, but I do have to do some assembly here. Here's the radiator, the cooling block, and 3 fans to install. This package has a bunch of the brackets that I won't be using, and some heatsink compound, which I will be using. Oh yeah, and here is my LGA 1700 bracket kit. This is so that we can attach it to the 12th generation Intel chip. Alright, let's get this assembled. This plastic bracket goes on the rear side of the motherboard, and it has 2 strips of tape to help it stay in place until you screw it down. Once that's on, we'll screw in these through the top side of the board. And let me turn this around so you can see it from the other side too. There are 4 of these, 1 in each corner. Now we'll run all the wires up to the board. This is for USB. Power and reset buttons. USB 3. headphone microphone jacks, main power, additional power, then we'll secure the power supply. I've already attached the CPU cooling radiator and fans to the top panel of the case, and now we'll reattach that, and we'll tie up any excess cables. I'm going to clean the surface of this chip with a little isopropyl alcohol just in case we got any skin oils or dust on there. I'm applying a pea-sized blob of heatsink compound, and I'm actually just going to push it out a little bit evenly in a small rectangular shape. I want this all to spread out nicely when I press the block against the chip. All right, and then we just screw it into place. Not too tight. Here is the RTX 2080. I cleaned this one up a little bit, and we'll just push it in until it latches. Then we'll hook up the power. And I've got an Elgato 4K 60 capture card that I want in here too. Get that latched in. All right, we are set. Reattach the glass. Pull the film off. And a test boot. Everything is on, looking good. All right, time to set it up and test it out. Oh my goodness, this computer is so fast. I am so happy with this build. Normally, I love making YouTube videos. The one part about making YouTube videos that I usually do not look forward to is editing. And that was mainly because it's such a hassle. It takes so long for me to edit a video, and a lot of that is just my computer going slow or waiting for a frame to load. And for the most part, it's usually okay, but it's just every once in a while, it gets stuck on a frame and I wait and wait for it to load. I have to make proxies, so I have to wait for the proxies to render, which usually takes like 15 minutes. And that's basically just so I can scrub through the footage a little bit more quickly. And even then, it gets hung up on things. But this computer, I don't even have to make proxies. I just jump right in. I've got like a whole bunch of clips in here, and I could just scrub right through this like it's nothing. Normally, if I'm going from one clip to another, and this is like 36 clips in here. If I'm going from one clip to another, normally, it's gonna like get stuck on a frame. It'll be like just stuck on a frame, and I'll be scrubbing back and forth, waiting for it to load. And then eventually, if I'm lucky, it'll finally load, but then I get to the next clip and it could get stuck there too. This is so much faster. Right now, I've got like 12 minutes worth of footage. I'm gonna just do like a quick test render. This would normally take, now we're not gonna wait through the whole thing, but I just wanna see what it estimates, because normally rendering this in 4K, 12 minutes worth of footage in 4K with transition effects and a bunch of other little things applied to it would probably take me about 50 minutes to render on my old computer. And that's after I've already finished dealing with all of the hiccups during the editing process. Just the rendering, the part where I get to walk away and wait for it, would normally take about 50 minutes, between 45 and an hour for 12 minutes worth of footage. So I want to make sure it's on high quality 4K, which usually takes a little bit longer if I set it to high quality. And I think we are all set here. Okay, yeah. All right. Oh, no way. No way. It's estimating like 5 minutes. Let's see. It's speeding up. 4 minutes. 3.5 minutes. You've got to be kidding me. And it just keeps going faster. This is, okay, right now it's estimating 3 minutes, 20 seconds. So 3.5 minutes to render 12 minutes of 4K footage with transition effects. That is crazy. This is, and already I went through editing all this just a little while ago, and it is so much nicer for me. It's gonna make things so much easier. I absolutely love this. I can't believe I waited so long to upgrade, and I'm glad. I almost ordered all the parts for an 11th generation Intel with DDR4 RAM. And then I realized, wait, the 12th generation just came out not too long ago. So I was like, okay, how much did it cost to rebuild it with that? I put it together, built it, and I'm glad I took the next step up, because from what I've heard, DDR5 RAM has twice the speed or twice the throughput as DDR4, so like it's a lot significantly faster just to jump from DDR4 to DDR5. And this is only with the 32 gigs of RAM right now, so I'm getting another 32 in the mail later. Guys, I'm gonna put the list of all the parts that I used in the description below in case you're interested, and I will also put Amazon links if you want to use my referral. Not completely not necessary. I never expect anything from you guys, but if you're going to be going there anyway, you might as well use a referral link. But anyway, it was kind of a pricey build, but I'm glad I finally got it. This is going to save me so much time, and this will last me a long time. Last time I got a new computer was in like 2015. So if that lasted me 7 years, hopefully this will last me another 7 years, probably even further, because last time I got that computer, I didn't get the latest and greatest. I got, a little bit older back then. I got something a little bit older just to save on money. But this is the first time I've actually spent a decent amount of money on myself for a computer. So yeah, really loving it. This is gonna make a big difference. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I will see you later. And look forward to more videos, more frequent videos, because I'm gonna have a blast editing them on this new computer.